guests and fellow Toastmasters. So tonight, I want you all to come back with me to the mid-'80s, to the coolest nightclub in the city of Chicago. Does anyone know what club that was? It was the Limelight. The Limelight. And I happened to work there for the first year of its existence. And I learned a few things about being cool. So the coolest thing about the Limelight was the employees that worked there. The employees mostly were artists and entertainers and stuff like that. And the Limelight was the first big club in the city of Chicago. Back then, most of the clubs were Division, Rush Street, but this was the first New York style club. And we would get a lot of entertainers like Duran Duran would stop by. We had the VIP room. I met Andy Warhol in the basement. And the thing about the club that was so different, it was they would actually pick people that were cool to let them come in. And I remember the first night I was working security, and there were like hundreds of people because it was a big deal. No other club like this before in Chicago. And there were hundreds of people, and I was in the front door, and Bob Seger in his Silver Bullet band, he pulled up behind the crowd in the street in his bus or van, and he's screaming to us at the front door, "Can he get in?" But he didn't get in because he wasn't cool. And the thing about the life, there were so many things. We would have fashion shows and talk about girls. I was one of the few straight guys that worked there, so Ken, who would have loved this place, meet a lot of girls. And unfortunately, actually, I remember this was during when AIDS started, and it's kind of a sad point, but years later, I found out a good many of the employees had died from AIDS, because back then, nobody really knew what was going on. And I also remember I would run into ex-Limelight employees, like 10 years later. This was all when we were still trying to figure out what we wanted to do. And we would just like give each other this look like, yeah, we worked at the Limelight, we were cool. So it got me thinking, one of the reasons I'm doing the speech is, and I'd also read an article about what it means to be cool. Not that I'm cool. But I started going back to the 50s, and of course, James Dean was cool. Marlon Brando, and then I went to the 60s, and I think JFK, John F. Kennedy, was cool in his own way. People thought he was cool. Jack Nicholson, and then when we come to all the way up to this time date, I think the cool has changed to become, who would be cool today? Of course, maybe some of the, I don't see any kids in their 20s here, but maybe it would be some rap guy that we don't know, but for most of us it might be some CEO of an internet company or something like this, because today money has become everything, where back in the 50s and 60s it was more like the rebel counterculture where money wasn't important, and we had the Vietnam War. So I think in some ways being cool is it's a reflection of society and stuff like that, but still there's some things that don't change, and we all know that of course, wearing black is cool. I don't think that's going out of style. Black leather jacket. But then some things do change, like if you think about cigarette smoking. Cigarette smoking, Humphrey Bogart used to be really cool, but I just saw, I don't know if it was on YouTube or a TV ad of a blonde, a woman past her prime, talking with the little voice box because she lost her voice smoking, talking about how she has to sing a lullaby to her babies or whatever from a voice box. And obviously, smoking is not really cool anymore. So these are just some of the things about being cool. So I want you to listen to my speech. Ask yourself what you think is cool. And when you go home tonight, I want you to put on your favorite sunglasses. Mine are from the dollar store. I want you to put them on, look in the mirror, and ask yourself, am I cool, Mr. Toastmaster?